Rent prices are climbing and climbing at the fastest pace in decades.
That's right. And despite an overall recent decline in the inflation rate, U.S. rent is now at an all-time high. The latest consumer price index reveals rent climbed 0.7% in July. According to a recent Bank of America survey, rents are up 7.4% since July of last year.
For more on this, let's bring in Tara Raguhveer. She is the director of KC Tenants, and she's also the director of the campaign for a national homes guarantee. Tara, thank you for being here. I want to start with a bit of a mystery, which is why, in a study by Bank of America recently, young people in their late teens, early 20s, born after 1996, have seen their rent go up double digits, 16%. But baby boomers have seen their rent increase by only 3%. Why the discrepancy?
It's a great question. The rent across the country is too damn high. Some of your initial statistics spoke to this, but median rent in this country has crossed $2,000 for the first time ever, and rents are rising at a pace that's faster than any time in the last 35 years. And a lot of this impact is felt most by the youngest people in the market and the most vulnerable people in the market, many of whom are the youngest in the market. There are more young people who are renting today than ever before. And that has to do with the fact that young people are moving more than ever, has to do with the fact that their wages have completely stagnated. And it also has to do with the fact that home ownership is now out of the question for a vast majority of poor and working class folks and even middle class and higher income earners.
You know, recently I spoke with a recent immigrant who told me she spends $4,000 a month on a house that has 3 rooms in it that are simply unlivable because it hasn't been finished. I mean, I couldn't believe that, you know, like you said, it seems like people at the lowest the lowest echelon are being taken advantage of a little bit.
Baby boomers don't fully understand this.
They don't understand.
They think kids are spending their money on avocado toast and lattes, and somehow that's why they're not buying homes and renting nice places. They need to get with it, really.
Yeah, baby boomers have had a lot of luck. So, Tara, what is the work that you're doing with the Kansas City Eviction Project, and what are some of the potential solutions to this problem that you're calling for?
Well, first of all, to the point that you just made, I think it's important to recognize that landlords don't charge rent based on the condition or quality of the home. They charge whatever the market allows. Yeah. And there's absolutely no federal regulation and very little state regulation about landlords charging what they want in rent. So that means that a lot of landlords right now are actually engaging in a practice of price gouging. They might be using inflation as an excuse, but actually raising rents beyond the rate of inflation. And without any government regulation, that becomes a huge problem like the one that we're seeing playing out in the market. So what we're working on nationally through the Homes Guarantee campaign is a set of actions that the president could take, and we think he should take urgently in order to regulate rents across the country through executive action, through adding conditions to federally backed mortgages that would impact millions of units in the rental market.
But Tara, just to pick up on the price gouging allegation against landlords, I've heard from landlords whenever this issue comes up, and what they say is you have in your mind a big company, faceless company, and that's the one doing the gouging. But actually, I'm not gouging. I'm just a small business owner. I've got a couple properties. I've got a family too, and making an enemy out of them is the wrong move. That it's actually bigger than them. What do you say to that? Because I hear it whenever we have a conversation like this on television or on streaming, whatever it is, I hear from those folks. So what's the answer to that?
Well, I have 2 answers to that. One is that the loss of profits on an investment is not equivalent to a tenant losing their home. Those are 2 different impacts. And then my second response to that is that the worst actors in the market are absolutely the institutional investors, the private equity speculators, and that's really where we want the president to target his action. A lot of them, for example, have mortgages that are backed by the federal government, and Fannie and Freddie and FHA should absolutely be directed to add as a condition of those mortgages that those institutional investors can't just increase the rent to whatever rate they want or that the market will allow. They have to be regulated so that there's some control on the market and people can still afford a place to live.
Mm-hmm.
Tara
Yeah.
Raguhveer. Tara, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tara.
Thank you.